Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. I am with Bernt Bornich, who is
get out full throttle, so it looks
CEO
good.
of EVANNEX, and we are going to have a very special treat for you today, so stay tuned. Right guys? Special treat, right? Yeah, very special treat. All right, cool. Hey buddy.
Hey.
Oh, he's so little in person. Oh, he's so cute.
So, I can talk to him.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Good. Can we shake hands?
Oh, nice.
Wow. That's good. Oh, that's good. Oh, thanks. You are the best robot in the world.
You're killing it today, Neo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Scott, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hello.
Hello. I didn't know you could talk. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, cool. I have a feeling you're going to be superseded here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, that's
So,
fine.
Yeah. So, Bernt, first of all, thank you for coming back on the channel, and especially for making time in this very busy GTC. Did you see the keynote live this morning or not? Or were you
I
here?
did. I got to see it live. Absolutely magical.
Yeah, it was
Jensen does
pretty
such a
amazing.
good job.
Right.
2 hours, no notes, just
I know.
everything you care
Yeah,
about.
that's pretty impressive.
No,
Jensen
no,
can
thank
do
you. No, thank you.
that. You don't want to be watered?
Don't, no. I showered today. It's fine. It's fine.
So it has a sense of humor too.
Yeah.
Is Neo a he or an it or a she or?
You can decide for yourself. We actually sunk a lot of work into making sure it can be both.
There we go.
And just whatever makes you happy.
There you go. So I want to ask you, like, one of the things that's immediately apparent with EVANNEX is how fluid it is when it's moving. I guess I'll call it a he. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, it's very distinctly different than most other robots that look very mechanical. It's much closer to like a way a human like moves or something. So, like, how do you manage that?
Well, it is all about the type of robots we build, right? The technology in the tendon drive. So the robots we build, they move more like muscle. So there's tendons inside getting pulled by our motors.
Right.
And basically that is the heart of the machine, right? We figured out how to make motors that are so strong that they can pull tendons very similar to muscle and just move and be dynamical very much like people, right? And that's also why it's quiet and safe, which I think are like two of the most underestimated things in the market right now.
And you said he only weighs 30 kilos, right?
Yeah.
So very, very light. What would that be, about
66 pounds?
Yeah, something like that. So super light. Obviously not that tall. What, about 140 or 50 centimeters?
No, 165 actually.
165? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to reach the top of the shelf, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Of course. And of course, like, enclosed in a very soft material, so easy to, if you bump into him, no big deal. It's not going to hurt. No pinch points. All of that stuff is fantastic. I'm so distracted right now.
I know, right? But it is, for us, it is actually all about how do you get the data to get the true machine intelligence.
Right.
And that means you have to live and learn among people.
Right.
And if you're going to live and learn among people, you have to be safe. It is the most important thing you can do.
That's true.
If we have robots living mainly in factories, like think about it, you get born in a factory cell and you live your life there, moving this from A to B, you're not going to get very intelligent.
Right.
But also all of this like beautiful like nuances of like human life, like how you are careful around a pet, you hold the door open for someone, that's all. Like if we want our AIs to be aligned with our culture, they actually have to get the data from living and learning among us. So can't wait for a lot of people, hopefully later this year, starting to, I always call it like adopt a Neo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Because it's going to be a journey. It's journey, not destination.
No.
It's not going to work it's not going to work perfectly day one.
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of fun and quite a journey.
You can think of Neo as maybe a puppy. It's like, it's not perfect when you first get it, but then it like gets better and better.
Yeah, and your puppy will never do the laundry, right? But Neo will.
Hey, man, that's the ultimate. Oh, there we go. Peace, Neo. What's up?
Yeah.
So, a specific question for you, because I know Dr. Scott Walter wants me to ask. What about the tendon drives? The big problem with them is that the calibration, because they can easily stretch, even if you have very, very, I assume you're using something like Kevlar or something.
Yes, we are using our own proprietary tendons. there's a lot of problems with tendons. I'd actually say like when you start out, you have like tendons are the most beautiful solution you could think about from like a functionality point of view, right? If you want to build the best robotic system out there, you have to use tendons. And then there's like a full bucket of problems. It's like they stretch, they wear, they like number of cycles, like cycle life, right? Complexity, like all of these things.
Right.
And that's what we spent the last 10 years figuring out, right?
Okay.
So at this point, all of these problems are managed very well. And we have better reliability on our tendon system than most of the other players have on their off-the-shelf harmonic drives or similar systems. But that was a grind, right? That was 10 years of like, if we grind long enough on this, it will work. Because essentially what it is a material science problem.
Right.
And think about car tires, right? How much better have they gotten in the last 30, 40 years?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So
you don't usually have blowouts anymore, whereas when I was a kid, it was very common to have a tire.
But it doesn't happen by itself.
Right.
It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, exactly. So the other question is the artificial intelligence aspect of this. What is he running autonomously right now, or is he being teleoperated to some extent, or?
So what you're seeing now is a mix, and it depends a bit on what we call intelligence, right?
Right.
So how the robot moves, how it handles its own balance, how it handles like bending forward, how it handles controlling the forces of like a vacuum cleaner while pushing it, all of that is completely autonomous.
Okay.
How it's walking is completely autonomous. The high-level goals of like move over here, put your hand there, that is currently right now being done by a human.
Okay.
But our foundation models that are training based on this data is starting to get pretty good at doing it autonomously.
Okay.
But it's not good enough yet that it would work like zero shot in a completely new environment like this, lots of people, and like robots never seen it before. And so we're getting there, but I mean, that's the journey, right? And that's what we want to invite people in on. Because if you want to get to this world where we have an abundance of labor, the only way we get there is we have to have these robots live and learn among us. And a lot of that is going to be teleop.
Right.
And that's the data you need to learn. And increasingly we see that we just need a bit of teleop, and then we get the robot to do it autonomously. And then the robot can learn from its own failures, which is very interesting.
Right.
So I'll give you a good example, right? So you ask Neo to go and get a Coke in the fridge.
Right.
And maybe we can do this with about 50% success rate. If we have some data in our home, and like we've done it in teleop a few times, see it's 50% successful. So you ask it, and it comes back with a can of Coke, and you're like, hey, Neo, thanks. Amazing, right?
Right.
So now we have data on that was successful, right? So we train on that data. Or maybe it didn't come back, and you're like, where did my robot go? And you go looking for it, and I don't know, maybe it's staring out the window in the corner, thinking about life, and you're like, Neo, weren't you supposed to get me a Coke?
Right.
This is actually a negative example, right?
Right.
And we put this back into our training data, and we see that we increasingly train on autonomous data, not on teleop data. But you need bootstrap data, right?
Yes.
And bootstrap data is you start with the internet, because that's just there. Then you have some simulation, and then you need a bit of teleop. And this enables you to start rolling out these policies so you can learn from experimenting in the real world.
So you could consider sort of a warm shot. Instead of a cold start, you're starting with a warm start, giving it some data. Since this is a GTC, and obviously you right here use Isaac Jim. So what's your relationship with Nvidia like?
So Nvidia, we have a great working relationship with them. We work very deeply with them, comparing nodes.
Okay.
So like we train and use our own foundation models, our own RL, and like our own AI. But we work on a lot of similar problems. So we exchange some data, we exchange some compute, we exchange a lot of nodes, and work very tightly with their team.
Oh, cool.
In addition, of course, we're using Nvidia hardware.
Right.
So not just for the training, but also for inference, right? So Neo currently runs with an Nvidia Orin, and we're about to transition over to the Thor.
Okay.
And there's a lot of low-level software work we're doing together with Nvidia to just ensure that this is very well suited for running humanoids in a home, right?
Right.
And so, yeah.
Okay, one final question for you, which I've been thinking about a lot, which is the first mover advantage into the home. I'm thinking about my iPhone and my MacBook and all the other and my Apple Watch. Once you get one thing in, would you consider this potentially a Trojan horse? If you can get into the home first and people like your product, that they create an emotional bond with the brand. Is that like Had you thought about that? Or
Yeah, clearly. But to me, like the most important thing we do isn't that.
Okay.
Like what gets me up in the morning, every morning, is I want to solve this problem. Right. I want to get to an abundance of labor, right? Because we're going to be so short on people in society doing labor.
Right.
Not just in the home, right? I look forward to giving people back 2.3 hours every day.
Yeah,
usually the
nice.
2.3 hours you have with your family after you're done with everything else.
Right.
And not doing chores at home. But of course, this is just the start. The reason we're going to the home first is because that is where the data is. That's diverse enough and high quality enough that we can get true machine intelligence, where you can basically prompt engineer the real world and get anything done.
Right.
Getting into industrial, retail, services, hospitals, elderly care, all of that, right? That comes shortly after.
Right.
So that's really what we're trying to do. So I think, yes, as a consumer brand, first mover advantage is very important. But I think the most important point here is the data. Right. The real first mover advantage is once you have this extremely diverse data among people at scale, it's very hard to catch up, right? Because you can just provide autonomous services that no one else can because you have the data. It's very different from the AI we see today, which is not physical, because there all of the data was already available.
Right.
Here we're talking about actually generating this data by having robots go around and doing things. And I'm super excited to see how this can also affect all models across the board, not just for the robot doing the task, but also just for intelligence in general, when we start to get robots that can actually verify whether their hypotheses are true, right?
Right.
The problems, Jensen talked about this today, right? We have it for math, we have it for coding, we don't have it for everything else. Right. But robots actually close the loop on everything. Like the real world is ground truth.
Yeah.
Literally.
If you fall over, you know you blew it.
Yeah. And models today have very bad spatial understanding. Right. They have very bad physics understanding. And in general, they don't even reason in 3D, right?
Right.
And this paradigm is going to change when you get a large amount of robotics data. And hopefully this will enable us to solve some of the unsolved problems in AI, which will improve people's lives, not only by what the robot can do, but also by what our models can do in general, right?
Right. That's cool. That's amazing. Well, Bernt, thank you so much for inviting me into your living room here. It's really wonderful. Thank you. And hopefully I'll get a chance to shake Neo's hand since Scott demanded that I do that today. So we'll see if I can manage it. I'll let you be the camera operator for a minute. Hey, what's up, guy?
Hey.
Hi. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
nice
great.
To meet you too.
Yep. Have a good day. Thank you. Give a little piece. There we go. That's perfect.